Hi, this is Jeff Fiedler, Corps Director for the Cavaliers Drum and Bugle Corps of Rosemont, Illinois, and we're about to present to you our 2005 My Kind of Town production. Something different, something that you might not expect from the Cavaliers. It's not James Bond, it's not Spin Cycle, it's just something completely different. This year's program designed by Scott Coder, Richard Saucedo, Bret Kuhn, Erik Johnson, Michael Gaines, and Andy Toth. We're led on the field by Drum Major Aaron Brizuela, who's assisted by Chris Lugo, and Guard Sergeant Andrew Atchison. Our first piece here on My Kind of Town is our intro. It's something of a 20th century Fox type of thing. You'll notice as you watch the show, you're going to watch the hats on the color guard change to give a little bit of an idea of where we're going. You're going to watch some of the equipment, some of the flags, and you're going to watch some of the dimensional things that we try to do. Through most of the tunes, we actually hint at dimension. This piece right here, the intro, is very much designed to show off the color guard, show off the brass. The color guard doesn't have to have a flag or a rifle or a saber in their hand to be impressive. And you'll notice the hats they're wearing are very much of a newsboy or a newsy type of look. And they wear that through the next piece also. So that's the intro. Give a little hint of dimension right there. And also another hidden dimension. Notice the color guard uniform has the skyline of the city on it. You can see the Hancock Building, the Sears Tower. Pretty prominent buildings when you come to the city of Chicago. Here we go into the Magnificent Mile, which refers to the major street here in the city, which is Michigan Avenue, which is where everything happens. If it's going to happen in Chicago, it happens on Michigan Avenue, which is referred to as the Magnificent Mile. Chicago's not a very laid-back city. It's very boastful, very proud. They're very in your face when they want to be. And you can see that as we go through here. This is something of a retro opener. It takes hints from Sammy Cahn's My Kind of Town, best known through Frank Sinatra's interpretations, many interpretations. And when I say retro, it presents all the elements. It's something of a traditional drum corps opener. It says who we are. And as you can see here, we're going to build into the traffic jam. Starts out in the morning, everything's very calm. You hear some of the traffic going, the traffic cops. It tends to get a little more rushed, a little more frenzy. We got the morning rush hour going on. There's buildings on the flags. If you get a chance to look at the flags, there's different building designs on the flags from the city. And it just gets really intense and really frenzied. Watch on one of the other views on the DVD some of the dimensional things that we tried to do, especially at the end of this tune and also here. We're going to start to show you a little more vertical feel, especially in this tune. Michael Gaines, the drill designer, really did some great things to show vertical, show length, to hint at another kind of dimension, which is all the tall buildings. Here's a vertical effect using the brass section and color guard support and percussion support as they build towards the back of the field. Same type of thing happens at the very end of the opener when we build into basically a rectangular column, which is what a lot of the buildings are in the city. Very tall, very massive, very Chicago. Before we get into the next piece, Hope Springs Eternal, you see a Red Sox cap right there. What this is we've laid over baseball cliches over the top of Jean-Luc Ponty's jig. And we use this, Hope Springs Eternal, as our next representation, baseball in Chicago. Every April, the sports writers write about the coming World Series, whether it be the Cubs or the White Sox, and most people in Chicago think it's supposed to be the Cubs. We're about to set up a baseball game, look for the diamond. It's kind of a light, comical piece, another style, another musical style, and a completely different sense of building here visually. Also, the approach the color guard takes, obviously playing baseball. Most of the season was an interleague play or a crosstown rivalry between the Cubs and the White Sox. But when we got to Boston, we tried to change it up a little bit. Throw the Red Sox. Red Sox had just won the World Series. The Cubs haven't won a World Series since the early 1900s. Haven't even been in a World Series since '45. So we tried to build up the rivalry there, and we played it on our website. Friday night was the 6th game. Saturday night was the 7th game. Look at the rifles. Notice that they're stained like Louisville Sluggers, and they got some white on the end of it. And you've probably been hearing a lot of the baseball cliches over the top of jig. And here we go. Red Sox outfielder, Cub batter. There it goes, out of the park. Cubs win. Something you don't often hear in Chicago, especially in October. As we move out of Hope Springs Eternal and into the Great Fire of 1871, notice the percussion still acting out a little bit of the baseball game, the color guard still following the line of the pit, and the brass section slowing things down as we do just a seamless transition into the Great Fire. Watch the hats change in this. Watch for the ladders, giving another hint at dimension. And this is somewhat of a morning piece. We're here in the morning, before the fire begins. The French horns playing their piece, which is very beautiful and yet very haunting. You can see still there's activity over on the left side, the brass in the 3 circles and going at a faster pace, almost escorting a ladder out here with some of the brass motion in the drill. And it just seems like it's going to be another day in Chicago. And yet at some point, supposedly, cow kicked over the lantern, and a great fire came from that, where hundreds of people were killed. Very, very sad moment in the city's history. Notice the percussion using the bundle sticks, giving the hint of the first snaps, the first crackles of the fire as it starts to build and build. And basically everything's coming together right here. Listen for the fire bell. Right where the horse-drawn fire carriages come in, the flame starts to rage, the flag work. Notice the flags are basically a fire. And it's just massive amounts of motion everywhere. People running everywhere, people doing different things. Obviously that would happen during a fire or during a catastrophe like that. And so we represent it by a lot of different motion. All that motion seems to go through the ladders as we continue to represent dimension. Hopefully at this point, there's a 3-dimensional aspect actually, as we put different performers, now mellophones, previously color guard, just put them up on the ladder to give greater presence, not just musically, but also visually. This is pretty much a classic moment for the Cavaliers. Something new and something yet very much who we are as we move the form, the lower dimensional form, into the higher dimensional form, giving it a new twist and a new feel. Obviously, this is a very emotional point in the show, and it really tends to build to that moment. And then from here, we remain reverent. There's still little elements of the fire, but it's pretty much gone out, and only now do they discover the amount of destruction, the amount of death and sadness, and just some very reverent moments coming here with the Amazing Grace. And so while being reverent, there's still hope, and that hope is represented in the music, and that hope is also represented by the changing of the ladders. They change the form. They're actually creating a stage for our next piece. Gets a little lighter here, and then actually comes back to reverent. And we end in a very, very simple form, which shows the vertical and the horizontal. That is Chicago. Our next piece is the Chicago Blues. Again, something we've never done before. Imagine the Cavaliers playing jazz. A little bit of blues, a little bit of swing. It really hits home, actually. Notice the hat change in the color guard. Wearing more of a fedora type of thing. If you ever saw a tape of Frank Sinatra in the 60s, see that he always wore his fedora. The circle of the ladders really presents a staging area, and we come back to that staging area time and time again in this piece. So now we're going to focus over on the trumpet section with the color guard. And we have a little trick here we picked up from jazz trumpeter Clark Terry. Color guard has flugelhorns, trumpets have their trumpets. All of a sudden, trumpets have 2 horns. But I'm not going to tell you if they were playing both of them at once. But if you look at the color guard, they have 2 pieces of equipment, and you can definitely tell they're using both of them. That was a great moment for us. People really dug that. And now the baritone section, kind of getting laid back. Flag interpretation. And things are going to really take off now. Staging that element of horns in the ladders. And go. This piece we knew as we kind of finally called it the Krupa drum solo, really reminiscent of a lot of the jazz things that were going on in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Some great integration there with the color guard and the horn line. Percussion now inside the stage area. Start with the tenors. Snares will start to bring them out. And right after the snare lick, the circle opens up again. At the same time, we have some pretty major visual things going on in the brass section and in the color guard. Horn line pressing inside, specifically tubas, and the sequential to the front and the back. And now it's just take it home. This is a pretty scary moment for all of us as we do this all summer long. This is right on the edge. As you can see, the oscillating moment as we push in, and they're pretty much blindly entering the ladders at 200 beats a minute. And now, once again, just wanted to do something that the Cavaliers never do. And that's end the show, just concentrating on the music, vacating the space in the center. Color guard's gonna go in, horns are coming out. And here it goes, expect the unexpected. And that's it. My Kind of Town 2005. I want to thank all the volunteers, all the instructional staff, design team, and especially thank the guys who pulled off a great show. Great summer. Thank you very much for all your support.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Cavaliers, under the direction of Jeff Fiedler.